Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
Just under 50 years ago, African Americans were persecuted with violence and hatred. Although racial discrimination continues today, they've made progress and achieved great success despite the struggles they've endured to do so. For instance, in opposition to the discrimination within schools and athletic teams, the T.C. Williams High School in Alexandria, Virginia, took a stand against racial segregation. The courageous people in Alexandria helped provide a future for the nation's social balances and equality. Nearly 50 years later, and the T.C. Williams Titans are revered not only for their achievements on the football field, but their ability to pave the way for future African Americans with opportunities for equality in society. Taking a stand against social norms through racial unity inspired the anti-discrimination movements throughout the nation that exist today. But first, to fully understand how we got here, we must go back in time.
Titans took major strides in the race to end segregation and provide equal opportunities. However, the history of this movement began long before this high school was integrated. For African Americans, the first vital step in securing equal rights was the Dred Scott v. Sanford court case in 1857. Dred Scott was a free African American man living in a free state who was denied the right to sue under the notion that he was not truly an American citizen.
Although he was unsuccessful, his actions furthered the fight for an equal right to citizenship in the United States. Scott's actions played a critical role in passing the 14th Amendment in 1868, giving everyone the right to citizenship and equal protection under the law, as well as the 15th Amendment forbidding voter discrimination based on race, color, or past servitude. Although these amendments helped further the cause, there were still major setbacks on the road to equality. The Plessy v. Ferguson case in 1896, one of the most notable court cases in African American history, ruled that black citizens throughout the nation could be categorized as separate but equal. Blacks were to be given the same facilities as whites, but ultimately they were of much worse quality. The Jim Crow laws established in the 1880s were a setback institutionalizing discrimination and inequality.
One of the many difficulties African Americans faced was the segregation within school systems across the nation. In 1954, in Topeka, Kansas, the Brown v. Board of Education court case declared state laws establishing separate public schools within segregated white and black children to be unconstitutional.
Although in 1960 it was legal for whites and blacks to attend school together, the South remained very segregated. However, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first child to attend an all-white school in the South when she went to William Frantz Elementary School in Louisiana during the New Orleans school desegregation crisis. This small, innocent 5-year-old girl inspired racially separated schools across the nation. Acts like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 began to emerge, furthering the fight for equality.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
Although action was being taken against discrimination, crimes were committed displaying hatred towards African American citizens. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a black rights activist and a symbol of hope for the race, was assassinated by racist James Earl Ray on April 9, 1968, in order to prevent the growth of the civil rights movement.
Along with the tragic death of Dr. King, 10 school buses in Pontiac, Michigan were bombed by whites protesting the crosstown busing order of federal courts. Racial discrimination and national division were peaking, and people's efforts to stand up against them became more driven.
The fight for equal rights was one of many struggles and faced immense opposition, especially in the South, where the slave trade had been prominent and the treatment of African Americans was still extremely unjust. Here, the idea of allowing blacks to attend the same schools as whites was highly disturbing to some people. This hostility caused a movement to emerge nicknamed white flight.
Schools were legally integrated, but white students and their families were permitted to choose what school they attended, resulting in continued segregation. Some families even preferred that their children disregard school altogether rather than let them have an integrated education, causing the percent of white students to drop from 45% in 1960 to 21% in 1975.
At this point, T.C. Williams became a prominent force in the race for equality. Ignoring the Southern Manifesto or opposition to racial integration in public places such as schools, T.C. Williams High School combined the students of Alexandria, Virginia in 1965. This was a huge deal because not only did the schools integrate, but the school system made the decision to integrate the Titans football team. In 1971, the Alexandria school system appointed Herman Boone to be the first African-American head coach it had ever had. He was chosen over the beloved white head coach, Bill Yost.
My selection as head coach of that football team some 40-odd years ago was a setup for me, one, to lose. No one in that city wanted me as head coach of that team. But
not only were schools integrated, but their athletic programs were as well. On and off the field, students of different races learned to unify to achieve success. Under the leadership of African-American head coach Herman Boone, white players of the T.C. Williams Titans football team grew to accept and respect their instructor, looking past his physical appearance. The team was able to join together despite the divisive community around them. The Titans had an undefeated season and were able to win not only the Virginia State Championship in 1971, but the attention of American citizens through understanding and acceptance. Other states across the nation began to follow suit and make more aggressive efforts to desegregate their school systems.
When I started school there in 1978, I remember my elementary school being an all-black school, and I recall there not being any white kids attending my elementary school within my first or second year. And then I remember there were kids being bussed in, kids from white neighborhoods, white communities.
African Americans throughout the country were slowly gaining more and more rights as time progressed. Ultimately, the stand against segregation in Virginia culminated in changes that would last forever.
In 1971, Virginia took part in these new transformations inspired by the Civil Rights Movement and revised their Virginia Constitution to incorporate the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act passed in 1964 and 1965.
Today, we see the even more permanent impact that the T.C. Williams Titans had in schools, athletic teams, careers, government, etc. Schools today are integrated and students are no longer turned away based on their race or ethnicity. Athletic teams are made up of athletes of all colors and cultures, and they are admitted based on talent and dedication, not race.
Not only are there just African American athletes, but today we see famous, influential, and important athletes. Some of the most idolized athletes of all time, like Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, and the Williams sisters, are all African American and have made a difference in society. African Americans have fulfilled the ultimate dream for an athlete, attending or even winning the Olympics. Coach Herman Boone was an example that set the precedent for well-respected, successful African American coaches to make a difference in the world of sports. Tony Dungy, who became the second coach ever to lead his team to a Super Bowl, is an African American man who made a difference on and off the field and is beloved nationwide.
Coach Boone held the highest ranking position on the coaching staff, head coach. In 2009, Barack Hussein Obama was elected as President of the United States, making him the first African American to earn this high-ranking position, similar to Boone. This speaks volumes on how far the country has come since the days when black citizens struggled and fought for the right to even go to school with white students. The T.C. Williams Titans set an example as they broke social norms despite the opposition they faced, overcoming social injustice.
Through unity and dedication, T.C. Williams High School overcame social barriers and set up numerous opportunities for the African American community today. History is defined by those standing up for their beliefs and values, just as the men and women of T.C. Williams did. Unification of two conflicting races may have caused outrage and disbelief throughout the nation, but became a turning point for racial equality at the local level. Later on, the smaller community progress extended to the national level and set up a future for the more accepting nation we live in today. Interracial friendships, integrated sports teams, learning environments, and equal opportunity prosper in today's society, yet they continue to face resistance.
Countless individuals have discovered fearlessness to live their lives without the blockade of racial discrimination. The increasing support of rights for African Americans is gradually moving the nation into one coalescent body. Taking a stand against unethical customs followed by the majority of the country sparked advancements towards racial equality, just as others follow in the footsteps of the T.C. Williams Titans today.
Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you.